It's a disgrace to history and to scholarship, but apparently it's just the kind of book that Rabbi Tovia Singer would quote in his book titled Let's Get Biblical. No footnote, no reference, no evidence. And when he does provide a source for his claims, they're nothing short of pathetic. Really, guys? Is this who you're going to trust for information? Someone that seems like he doesn't even cross-check his own work? That doesn't even fact-check his own book? Over 9 years ago now, Rabbi Tovia Singer released this book. I'm holding it like this because, yeah, that's how big it is. It's gigantic, it's enormous. The title, Let's Get Biblical, hypes the book up for a spectacular read. Finally, someone that's going to interpret God's holy word with truth and integrity. Unfortunately though, guys, the only thing spectacular about this book is just how unbiblical, uncharitable, and unacademic it is. You see, it's hard to imagine that Rabbi Tovia Singer wrote this book thinking it'll be examined on any kind of serious level, whether that be academic or scholarly. In fact, when you read the footnotes that he provides in this book, it's hard to imagine that he actually fact-checked this. And someone will say, oh, but you're biased because you're a Christian. And in a way, you're right. I acknowledge that. I do have a bias because I'm a Christian. But I'll also say, if I have a bias because I'm a Christian, then you also have a bias from whatever side that you're standing on. So it's not about having a bias, it's about recognizing that bias and not letting it hinder your pursuit of truth. So my question to you is, do you have the courage to pursue the truth? Do you have the courage to openly sit and examine if the things that I'm saying are true? Because guys, Rabbi Tovia Singer isn't God, and he's open to the same criticism and the same scrutiny that we all are. I'm gonna stop carrying this book because it's actually really heavy. The word of God says in Proverbs 18 verse 17, the first to plead his case seems right until another comes and examines him. So guys, let's examine Rabbi Tovia Singer. And today we'll be doing that in 3 short steps. We're going to read Singer's claims to gain an understanding of where he's coming from. And then secondly, we will look at whether he provides any evidence in support of the claims that he's making. And then finally, we'll examine the quality of the evidence he provides in support of these claims, if he provides any evidence at all. Hey guys, and welcome back to Learn Messiah. Make sure to like this video so more people can see it. Subscribe so you don't miss out on any new content. Leave a comment if you agree or disagree with anything that I've shared. As you guys know, I make it a mission of mine to respond to as many people as I can. So make sure to leave a comment and let's continue the discussion down below. Beginning with this video, I'll be starting a new segment where I'll be examining this book that Rabbi Tovia Singer has written. So you can expect more videos just like this, where I'll be looking at the claims that Rabbi Tovia Singer makes, and hopefully we'll make our way into biblical prophecies and things like that. So hopefully you guys all tune in and stick around for the whole series. With that being said, let's get right into it. Now, what did I mean earlier when I said this book is unacademic? Well, one of the more spectacular claims Rabbi Singer makes in this book is that the virgin birth of Jesus was invented to appeal to the pagan world. For example, he writes on page 55, to understand why the belief in Jesus' virgin birth arose in Christian teachings only toward the end of the 1st century, it is important to grasp that although the church initially vigorously sought to lure Jews into its new fold, it was largely an unsuccessful endeavor. It was clear to the proponents of Christianity that if the new Jesus-centered religion was to appeal to the masses, their emerging religion would have to appeal to Gentiles, not the Jews. The message of the church had to be expressed in language that made sense to pagans. While the notion of a God-man savior born of a virgin was completely foreign and bizarre to the Jewish world, it was appealing and commonplace in the pagan world. And guys, Rabbi Singer is so confident that Christianity adopted the virgin birth to appeal to pagans that he even provides a timeline. He claims that in wake of the Second Temple's destruction, the church adopted the myth of the virgin birth. Now, what evidence or source does he provide to demonstrate this historical statement? None. No footnote, no reference, no evidence. Just trust me, bro. You know, the good old saying. In fact, This whole book is filled with Rabbi Singer making historical statements and claims which he provides no evidence. And when he does provide a source for his claims, they're nothing short of pathetic. Don't believe me? Let's take a look. On page 56, he writes the following. It was claimed the Greek deity Adonis was born of the Virgin Mira, centuries before Jesus. He was said to have been born at Bethlehem, in the same cave that Christians later claimed as the birthplace of Jesus. Wow, if this is true, it would be an incredible parallel to Jesus' virgin birth. But before we can accept this claim, first we have to examine it. Is there really any evidence to suggest that Adonis was born of a virgin called Mira? Mira. Something so familiar about that name. Oh, Mira Mary. Is that the parallel? Is that it? Anyways, forget what I was saying. Guys, when someone says something as spectacular as that, the first thing you have to do is check what sources he provides for his evidence. But just before we do, what are some of the sources we'd expect a learned scholar like Rabbi Tovia Singer to rely on? To name a few, we have the Metamorphose, a 2nd to 3rd century text where the entire myth of Adonis is summarized, Sappho, who gives us our earliest reference, a poet writing in the 6th to 7th century BC, or maybe it's Plutarch, the Orphic hymns, Apollodorus, all who are considered relevant authorities in the Greek deity Adonis. Don't hold your breath, guys. Singer doesn't use any of these, or any relevant authority for that matter. Don't you think it's strange for a Rabbi Singer to co-sign such a significant historical claim and not use any primary evidence when it's available? But maybe he references a scholar who specializes in mythology. Maybe after all, because there are so many articles and books which talk about Adonis, Rabbi Tovia Singer is going to quote them. Not even close. Instead, Rabbi Singer opts to reference a self-taught writer who has no formal training in history or religious studies. And who could this be, you ask? None other than Barbara G. Walker, who released a book titled The Women's Encyclopedia of Myths and Secrets, which is an impressively long reference work that was written in 1985. But what's the problem? Why does referencing Barbara's encyclopedia diminish Rabbi Singer's integrity and his ministry? If you want to know the answer to that, then look no further than the foreword, where it's declared, "This is a feminist scholar's goldmine and a browser's delight," and that the book upsets the complacent Judeo-Christian applicat of orthodoxy, and finally that Barbara has written a tribute to the goddess like the witches and wise women of old. Walker has eyes to see and ears to hear that the rest of us can't. So how did a book which has been dubbed a feminist scholar's goldmine and has been written as a tribute to goddesses end up in the hands of Rabbi Tovia Singer? And when you read portions of this encyclopedia, it's not hard to see that there's a clear bias against Judeo-Christian narratives. It's also not hard to see that this encyclopedia is nothing but pseudo-history. Don't believe me? Let's see what some of the reviewers of this book had to say. In 2008, this is what the Colleen the Convival Curmudgeon has to say. Barbara Walker has an obvious bias against all things male and or Christian. She rewrites myth and history to make everything female supreme, goddess-centric, and anti-male, and full of sexual woman power. That said, I don't like made-up or revisionist history, even if it does stroke the ego a bit. And in 2017, this is what Heather had to say. This book is complete. The author blatantly makes up, has done barely any research, and what research she has done is of the worst quality. This book is a disgrace to history, to feminism, and to scholarship. It's a disgrace to history and to scholarship, but apparently it's just the kind of book that Rabbi Tovia Singer would quote in his book titled Let's Get Biblical. Really, guys? Is this who you're going to trust for information? Someone that seems like he doesn't even cross-check his own work? That doesn't even fact-check his own book? I don't know. You be the judge. And just to put the nail in the coffin, in 2013, this is what DM Rosemark had to say. And bear with me because this is a long read. The longest and most detailed entries in this book are on Christian subjects and iconography. There is a very clear and overwhelming bias against Christianity in this book. The reason Christian entries are so long is because Walker makes a deliberate attempt to undermine classical historical Christianity and paint it as wrong, misleading, or biased. I am not a Christian, so my feelings were not hurt, but she does not do the same with other religions, and this makes me suspect about the content. And guys, you might be thinking, why do I care? I don't care about Christianity. Let her be biased against Christianity all you like. But you got to realize when these reviewers are talking about quote unquote Christianity, that also includes the Tanakh, because most of what she actually references is the Old Testament, which Christians include in the Bible, obviously. Heather continues by saying, this book is just not an academic work. If you're a scholar or an academic looking for reference or research material, I would say look elsewhere. Look guys, I don't want to say too much, but this is truly damaging to his ministry. And honestly, this should make you question his integrity as a scholar and as a rabbi. Clearly, Rabbi Singer didn't bother to read the reviews. And as it seems, he probably didn't bother to read the book that he's quoting either. If he did, then he would have seen exactly what the reviewers are talking about. For example, she doesn't only say that Jesus and Adonis have a connection. On page 540, read what she says. She says, the God of Moses copied the ways of other patriarchal deities and claimed the ability to cast forth lightning. And on page 577, she says, according to Mani, the devil who created this world of gross matter was the Jewish Jehovah. He said it is the prince of darkness who spoke with Moses, the Jews, and their priests. Just as we read the reviewers say, there is a clear bias against Christian narratives, well, biblical narratives. So do you now get the point? And that's the thing. There are so many places where Rabbi Singer will make a radical claim and not provide any evidence for it. And look, I can see someone in the comments saying, oh, but Rabbi Singer is not a historian. I don't know what world you live in, but not being a historian doesn't give you the right to endorse made-up history and mislead people. And someone else might say, oh, Rabbi Singer was only saying it is claimed Jesus was born in the same cave as Adonis. And so what? Why would Rabbi Singer add it in his book if it's merely a claim that he doesn't believe in? If Rabbi Singer knows the source is dodgy, why would he use it? If anything, that works against him and diminishes his scholarly integrity. That means he's willing to put in his book quotes that he doesn't even endorse just to make another person's position look bad. And guys, look, even if Christianity were false, that doesn't give you an excuse to make up things about it. It doesn't give you an excuse to just have poor scholarship, to have poor research, and not even to fact check your own sources. And guys, don't just take what I'm saying as gospel truth. Go and read Adonis's myth for yourself. You go check the sources and see if you can find what Rabbi Singer says about him. See if you can find that Mira was in fact a virgin, and secondly, that he was born in a cave in Bethlehem. Not just in Bethlehem, the same cave that Christians say Jesus was born in. I took a lot of time to really read the sources and read the material and look at the scholarship in order to see what is actually claimed about Adonis. And you will clearly see that nobody says that he was born of a virgin and that he was born in the same cave that Jesus was also born in. Otherwise, Rabbi Tovia Singer wouldn't have had to have relied on Barbara G. Walker. Instead, he would have quoted these scholars, these classicists, these historians. He would have instead used their books rather than quoting some self-taught writer who has no credentials. With that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it challenges you to read his book again. Read some of the sources that he provides, read the footnotes, and see if the sources he provides are actually credible. See if what he's saying actually makes sense. See if what he says holds to scrutiny. I'm sure it doesn't. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time, God bless.